While most e-commerce brands are complaining about skyrocketing ad costs and problems with deliverability, I used a 150-year-old marketing channel to help an e-commerce brand generate an extra $40,000 in revenue, all from people who had unsubscribed from email and hadn't purchased in more than a year. In this video, I'm going to show you why direct mail is the biggest secret weapon in 2025 for e-commerce brands and how you can start using it yourself. So first, let's talk about why direct mail is such an effective channel for attention marketing in 2025. Now, the first reason why it's such a great channel to use for e-commerce is that it's an actual physical medium. You can send a postcard like this to someone's physical mailbox. They can see it, they can touch it, they can hold it in their hand, and it cuts through all of that digital noise. If you think about it, people get hundreds of emails every day, dozens of text messages, they're bombarded by ads everywhere they are online. It's very easy to tune that out just to focus on the content that you want when you're online. So if you're an e-commerce brand that they've already purchased from, that they love, it's absolutely going to stand out in their mailbox and it's going to get noticed. Another really big reason why I love direct mail is that it's a great way to reach people who've unsubscribed from email or SMS. A lot of brands are afraid about emailing too often because people can unsubscribe, and in their mind, once someone unsubscribes from email or SMS, that's it, that person's gone, and we don't have a good way, cheap way of getting back in front of them. With direct mail, you can take a list of people who've unsubscribed, send a postcard directly to them, and still get in touch with them. So now I want to talk about the different campaigns that I used with this client for direct mail. And the first one was a win-back campaign that we had targeted at people who had unsubscribed from email and hadn't placed an order in a 1 or 2 year period. So they placed an order one time, and then for 1 year or 2 years, they had not placed any order. And we were trying to get them to come back and make a purchase. At first, I was a little skeptical because this is a client that sells a high-priced product. They sell bikes. So there's not a very high repeat purchase rate built into this business. But we had noticed a pattern just going back and looking at customer data was that there was a group of people who would come back every year or 2 years and buy a second, third, or fourth bike. So we noticed that this was a group of people. We were trying to go and get back in touch with them. So we sent this campaign to about 6,000 people, and we had got $34,000 in revenue off of a $3,300 spend. So that was the first time we actually tested this channel out. And I was pretty surprised because we weren't sure if it would land. We also didn't have a great offer because it was just reminding people to come back and just saying that we had bikes up to 50% off. We were a little skeptical, but pleasantly surprised when we saw that return. So that was a very effective campaign that we ran. Now, the second campaign that we ran was a prospect checkout abandon. Now, these are people who had started checkout. They had never placed an order with us. And then we were sending them postcard 30 to 90 days after they had abandoned the checkout process. So in that time, they had gone through our email and SMS checkout abandon flow, which sends about 6-7 messages. They still hadn't purchased. And we sent these people a follow-up postcard. So the results for the checkout abandon for prospects, we sent 400 postcards, so very minimal spend. We spent $250 and we made $8,000 off of that. Pretty great overall results. Third campaign that we had set up and were testing was the unengaged prospects. So these are people who had signed up for emails in the last 60 or 90 days. They haven't bought anything with the emails and they weren't opening and they weren't clicking the emails. So we were sending out postcards to this group of people and we got $2,700 in revenue. So this one was the most intriguing to me in terms of scalability. I wanted to jump into Klaviyo and show you how you could set up a segment right now and see if what the potential could be for you using direct mail. I would recommend setting up these segments here. So the first thing I would do is a win-back segment. These are to people who can't receive email marketing. So they've unsubscribed from emails. There's no way we can get back in touch with them. Again, if this was for a consumable brand, postcards work very well for that because there's a nature for rebuying. I would say someone who's placed an order at least once in the last 180 days. They've placed an order 0 times in the last, you could say, 45 days. So that's 25,000 people you could send a postcard to come back and win back their business. Sending to 25,000 people is probably a little expensive, so you could bring that down to maybe 10% of that segment and go from there, but that would be the first one I would set up. Okay, so the next segment I would suggest you add is something like this. We're trying to see prospects who've been added and are no longer engaging with our emails. So again, these are people who've opened email 0 times, clicked email 0 times, and they've received at least 10 emails, and they've been on our list for between 30 and 90 days. We got 8,000 people here. So these I would consider to be kind of cooling off prospects, but this again would be a great segment for you to check out and see if you could bring them back to get that first purchase. And with these people, you can maybe come up with a special offer or something like that. When it comes to retention marketing in 2025, I would strongly suggest that you experiment with adding direct mail into your arsenal of what you have going on. Email and SMS are already what everyone is using. It's expected. Direct mail is kind of like a new old channel that's quickly getting momentum, and a lot of brands are starting to use it. So I would suggest that you create a few of the segments I showed you, set up an account, run a few test campaigns, see what your results are, and then you can scale that to either more campaigns or automations and work it into your overall retention marketing strategy. Again, not a lot of brands are doing this, and it's a great way to cut through that noise that's going on in the digital landscape and really win back customers, really help your brand grow going forward. So if this video was helpful, you can click here to watch another one and learn more about email and retention marketing. You can also click below to sign up for my newsletter. And if you're really stuck with your email or retention marketing, you can also click below to get in touch with me and see if we'd be a good fit to work together. I'll catch you next time.